Check. Mic check. 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Platform Podcast. As always, I am your host, Dex. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a follow, leave that 5-star review. Let me know who you want to see on upcoming shows and leave comments for any of the guests there. Now, today on the show, before we get started, I got to give a big shout out to our brand sponsor, Make It Now Media. They are a one-stop shop for all your graphic design needs. So DJs, venues, agencies, artists, anything you need, whether you need flyers for events, visuals, EPKs, any of that kind of stuff, Make It Now has got you taken care of. Hit them up, use the code PLATFORM. They'll get you all set. Joining me today on the Platform Podcast, I've got a very, very good friend of mine, someone that I've known for pretty close to 10 years now. Amazing artist from Minnesota. Now has been living out here in Nashville for the past few years. She just released a new single called Easy in April. She's got a lot of new stuff coming up. I'm sitting down with Alannah McCready. Thank you for joining the Platform Podcast. How you doing?
Hi, brother. I brought my publicist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very good publicist.
Yeah, she's very, very serious.
Yeah, she doesn't talk much.
Well, she does. You just can't understand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have you here finally.
I know, finally. We've been trying to do it for so long.
Yeah.
I love that our worlds are finally like colliding in a different way than just being friends.
Yes.
Like what we became Wisconsin.
I know. Yeah, we had to have met in Wisconsin. It has to be 10 years ago now.
More than that.
Yeah.
Because I was in Atlanta for 8 years before I moved here.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of when it would have been, like 2013 or 14 or something like that, or even longer than that. But then now moving here was nice because it's like there's somebody that I knew here in Nashville.
Exactly.
So it's like you're not moving to a whole new city without any connections at all. And especially moving here and knowing you, who was connected with fucking everybody out here. So it helped a lot.
Listen, I like having a lot of friends.
Yes, we both do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're going to get into a lot of things here. We got a lot of good topics lined up. Obviously talking about your latest project, the projects that you have planned moving forward here, just getting into the Nashville music scene, coming here from a new city and then trying to get your foot in the door here.
What, almost 4 years now?
Yeah.
That I've been here, which is crazy.
Yeah. We'll get into a lot of other things from the bands out here playing for tips, and then the money that can be made out here just touring on Broadway and going from bar to bar out here, and then just the difficulty of that, of the competition that there is out there. Music scene now, and specifically the country music scene and some other things. But to get started, let these viewers know a little bit about Alannah, where you're from, how you got started, and how you're living this crazy life.
Oh, yikes. It's a long story. So I grew up in Minnesota, where, there's not a lot of country music. It's way bigger now. But my mom is from Oklahoma, so that's where I got the country music from. I've been singing country songs in the car with her since as long as I can remember. Like, I just always distinctly remember singing She's in Love with the Boy, Trisha Yearwood, with my mom just screaming it in the car.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like when I fell in love with country music, and then taught myself, or helped teach myself how to sing by copying, like Shania, Martina, Faith, like all the big vocalists. And, when you're from Minnesota, it's the state of hockey. So also when you are old enough to walk, you also get skates.
Yeah.
So it's like a 2-for-1.
Maybe even before that.
Honestly, my nephew is 2 and he already has skates.
Yeah.
And he's already been on the ice. So it's, as soon as you're moving.
How do they even make skates small enough for that?
They're the cutest thing ever. They're literally this big. It's so cute. But so my 2 passions, hockey and music, and I did them for as long as I could simultaneously. In high school, I would sing the national anthem in my equipment and then go play the game.
Really? Yeah. I never knew about this.
Yeah.
They would literally have you sing the national anthem before your own games.
In the penalty box, in my equipment, just take my helmet off. and then go play, and the other team's crowd would always just be like,
what the fuck just happened here?
Why the fuck is the goalie?
Would that get you pumped up? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I love it because I feel like it throws people off. They're like, what the hell is the goalie doing? Like, what is she doing? And then I just like, skate to the net and play. And it was like, yeah. It was totally normal for me.
Yeah.
And I think back now and I'm like, that was so weird.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because I was the only person in my entire high school who was in choir and like musicals and stuff, and also played varsity sport.
Yeah.
So they had never had to communicate with like schedules or anything like that before. And so I kind of felt bad because there would be games that I would have and concerts on the same night. And so I would have to pick one. I sort of did every other, and then depending on who we were playing, and go in the morning at like 7 a.m. and sing all of my soprano parts for our choir director to get great credit for the concert. And
so would they cater the schedule to you a little bit and let you? Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad, but
I feel like it's part of what athletes get, a little bit of that privilege.
Yeah. And it was like, I did musicals, and I was, a lead or a co-lead in musicals. And so, you can't do it without it. So, I don't know. I loved it though. I loved it. It expanded my friend groups so much. Like I was friends with every group in school, which I loved. It just broadens your horizons at such an early age to be involved in so many different activities. But then when I got to college, Mark Johnson, my coach at Wisconsin, he was like, so we're not going to distract everyone with you singing the anthem before.
So you never got to do it at Wisconsin?
Not for my own games, but for the other sports and the other teams, like men's games and all the other sports and stuff. I did all of that.
So for those that don't know, she went on to play college hockey at University of Wisconsin, which is one of the best hockey universities for both men and women's in the nation still now.
Yeah.
Happened to win 2 national championships there, which is decent, I guess. Makes you an okay hockey player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just talk about you were still engaged in music while you're going to school there and playing hockey there too?
Yeah. So when you're on scholarship, the NCAA doesn't allow you or like for you to promote yourself in any other way other than what they are paying for you to go to school for.
Which has changed now. So like now if you would be going, you'd be able to have some record deals and stuff while they would probably want you to.
Annoying.
Yeah.
They would for sure want you to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back then it was extremely frowned upon, and we were discouraged from even,
you can't even
jet
sign autographs
skiing in the summer.
Yeah.
Because if we broke our leg and couldn't play, they could sue you. It's this whole, it was very serious. So you had to ask permission for everything and every little thing. And so I had to put music on the back burner in college. But I still journaled and everything and did all of that. And after I graduated, I ended up using all of those journals and all that stuff that I was doing. Like I didn't even know that I was songwriting.
Yeah.
And all of that turned into my first album.
Okay.
After I graduated, and some people are like, oh, well, and I'm like, no, those are just different chapters of my life, it kind of allowed me to, I was doing them both for so long, kind of allowed me to just focus on one completely for a while, which I liked. And we obviously had a great career, and the best 4 years of my life. I'm so grateful. And, it was nice to kind of alternate them, because now I could give all my energy to hockey and be the best I could possibly be at my sport and what I do. Yeah. And then close that chapter and move on to what I always knew I was going to do as a career for my entire life, which was music.
Which is funny because that's literally what one of my next questions was going to be, because even after college got done, like you didn't necessarily go right into music. I mean, you lived in New York, you worked in PR for a bunch of NFL players. where you still weren't into music yet.
No.
So kind of in the back of your head, did you always know that music was the end goal, the passion that you had, that you wanted to ultimately go back to that as a career? Or at that time, were you like, maybe I'm not going to do music?
I think a little bit of both. I actually, my parents recently found, well, I guess I can say it now. So I filmed The Voice last year. And so in order to do that, you have to they dig up your entire life, obviously. And so my parents actually found a picture I had drawn when I was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I might have been a little older than that, maybe 4 or 5. But of me singing, it was Stick People. And it was me singing to this auditorium of people. And I drew all the people and me singing on stage. And I wrote on it, I am happy when I sing.
Yeah.
And I was I always knew that that's what was going to happen. I just didn't know how or the method or what it was going to be. And, living in New York, I was doing PR, which I'm so grateful. That's what I went to school for. And I'm so grateful now that I did that, because for the first few years of my career, a lot of the years of my career, I was doing everything myself, back office stuff, booking, everything. I was doing it all myself. And having that knowledge and experience of me doing PR, even if it's in sports, it's the same, helped me so much to know how to promote myself and do interviews and know what I need to be doing or who I need to be reaching out to, et cetera. And while I was doing PR while living in New York, I was also coaching the goalies at Princeton. So I would be driving back and forth to the middle of Jersey.
Yeah.
Which I love, because I wanted to keep those roots as well. And so I think it was 2013, early 2013. My uncle is a recording artist, and they lived in LA at the time, but he lives in Minnesota now. And so I would always do little gigs with him or whatever. And I told him that I wanted to, really try and do music full time. It's what I want to do. It's what I love. It's what I always wanted to do. And so he introduced me to a producer here in Nashville. And I came down, recorded for the first time ever in a professional studio, and sat the producer down after and was like, you don't owe me anything. But do you think that I could do this as a career? Because I think that I can, but you get nothing from telling me yes or no. So be honest. And he said, if you think you have the drive and want to do it, he said, I definitely think you could be successful. And I said, okay.
That's all I need to hear.
Quit my job in New York, moved full send.
Yeah.
And, it was, honestly, looking back, I'm that was really unhinged, but it's fine.
But you first initially moved to Atlanta.
Yes. So I moved to Atlanta. I didn't know anyone here.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends at the time had just moved to Atlanta. So I moved there with her, and I was coming back and forth. And I recorded my first album half here and half in LA with my uncle and producers out there.
Okay.
So my first album was kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
And then, living in Atlanta, I put a band together and got management in Minnesota. They were based in Minnesota. Eventually, a few years ago, I had to fire them expeditiously because they were stealing things from me, but welcome to the music business.
Yep, that happens a lot here. Yeah.
I learned a lot from that. And, I learned that the more you know about the business side of it, the better you will be, even if you're not actively doing the business side of it. Because I'm low-key grateful that they did that to me, because now I know how to read a contract. I know what I'm worth. I know what to look for in deals. I know what I should give up, what I shouldn't. And I don't think I would have ever taken the time to really learn how to do all of that.
If that hadn't happened. Yeah, forced you to learn about that.
Yeah, because I was there is no way in hell I'm letting this happen to me again.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm a little, I'm like, listen,
Fool me once.
dude, it's not gonna happen again.
Yeah.
So that happened. But eventually I was like coming back and forth so much. I'm like, this is dumb.
Just moved to Nashville.
I need to be in it. I need to be available. I had people being like, do you want to do this writers round? Do you want to do this session? Do you want to do all these things? And I wasn't available because I wasn't here. And so I decided I needed to be here and be in it and be available in order to level up. So I sold my house in Atlanta, bought a house here, moved here, and I've been here for 4 years. And I think my career has leveled up at least 3 times since I've been here compared to what it was.
Yeah.
And that's just from being here.
Yeah. I mean, you just put out Easy like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
But up until then, I mean, that was the first thing that you put out in almost 2 years.
Yeah, 3 almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So working on that project, I mean, one, just how good did it feel to be back putting out music again? And then 2, did you know that Easy was the single to put out? Or do you have other stuff that you were kind of contemplating, all right, which one am I going to put out first?
You know, whenever there's new music about to go out, I feel like all artists are like this. We all have our favorites as artists and songwriters because they're our little babies. But it's really a team decision. You know, my management, my PR team, who are unbelievable, by the way. Aristo is my head would fall off. So, but it's sort of a team discussion of getting everyone's point of view. I'm like, okay, well, lyrically, I like this one the best. But then management's like, oh, well, it'd be easy, this point of view. And then PR's like, well, we could push it this way if we did this one. And, it's just all these different points of view that then come together to make the decision.
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing. One of the most amazing things about having a team now is I'm getting people's opinions who have my best interest at heart for each major decision.
Yeah.
And I know that they have my best interest at heart because, one ship floats. We all do,
Yeah. And that's got to be one of the harder things, though, is having that team around you that you do trust for talks like that, where you trust them to be like, all right, cool. This is the song that I think is going to work for this scenario. Or, hey, this song we can push to radio. This song is going to be pushed more toward this.
And them not being afraid to be like, no.
Yeah. Where you might be, as the artist, being like, no, like, this is the one.
Yeah.
And they're like,
it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Or not first. Or maybe that'll be a good second follow-up or whatever. But yeah, it's, when I did Back to Me, the Back to Me EP right before I moved here. So I recorded half of that in Atlanta and half of it here. And that was the first thing that I released after moving here and getting my team and everything together. And that was the first thing I had released in 4 years. And I can thank COVID for that because we all had to stop touring. And before that happened, I didn't even realize I wasn't writing because I was playing so many dates.
Where you didn't even have time to sit down.
I was like, it didn't even hit me that it had been 4 years and I hadn't released a song. And I had been playing hundreds of dates a year, just on the road constantly.
Yeah.
So many shows, 5 people, 5,000 people, 3, it's like all over the place, which is a necessity. But I didn't realize it in that time period. I wasn't writing. I wasn't even writing. I was not much less releasing. And so when COVID came around, I took the opportunity to lock in and write a new EP. And I think was the start of kind of the new era of me as an artist. Mm-hmm. I was in my 30s. I had been through a lot, you're aware of. And
yes.
And so it was time, and I feel like it took me a long time. Not that my old music isn't me, but it took me a long time to get to where I think I'm in my lane now of who I am as of artist in country music and putting out and writing music that is authentically me and transparent.
Yeah.
And what I would want to hear if I was a listener.
Yeah. And being able to just brand and market yourself
Yeah.
to how you want, as opposed to having a team that's like, hey, we're going to push you this direction because this is where we think that you need to go.
And that's how, like, with Easy, like you mentioned, Easy is probably the most country pop song I've ever put out. Leaning, because it has the heavier bass and has the, but my team was like, this, it's still so you. And that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Like, just because it's a little more pop than everything I put out doesn't mean it's not me, because the songwriting is the same lane and the vibe of it is the same lane.
Yeah.
And so everyone was completely on board. So I feel like Easy was the perfect kind of intro into this next project.
So looking at a track like Can I Call, which is like statistically and numbers wise, your most popular track. Do you, when you're looking at songs that you've put out, is that how you judge if a song is successful or not? Or like, would you say Can I Call is your most successful track? Or do you look at it in other ways of like how the writing went for it and what the song means to you and how this track ultimately came out as what is your best track to you or your most successful track?
I think it depends who you ask.
That's, I'm asking you.
Yeah. So for myself, for me, yes, obviously getting the numbers is great, but you'll drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
If that's the only thing you're focused on.
Yep.
You will go crazy. You will feel not successful. I mean, on Spotify, we make 0.003 cents per stream.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, is what a song like that brings in for you.
It's, it's actually laughable how much we make per stream.
Yeah. Because like you have 13,000, I was looking yesterday, it's like 13,000 monthly listeners on Spotify alone.
Yeah.
Like that's not including Apple, anything on like YouTube, stuff like
Amazon,
that.
everything,
Yeah. What is like 13,000 monthly listeners getting you? Not even close to what you make in one gig at Barstool.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Which is crazy to think. Like you have literally 13,000 people streaming your music.
People.
Yes, different. Yeah. Streaming your music every single month.
Yeah.
Like imagine a crowd of 13,000 people just gathering up to see you every month.
That's what it is.
Paying you nothing. Yeah.
I pay my mortgage with 1 gig.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But God, it makes me nauseous to think about it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is if you're someone that is so focused on the numbers, you're going to be disappointed majority of the time, unless you're fucking Justin Bieber. It's, and they don't even look at that.
Yeah.
Because they're making so much money from other things, tours, merch, whatever. That's where the money is.
Yeah.
And so I also think it's important that if you write your own music, because honestly, you get more money
as a songwriter being credited. Yeah.
If you're the only person in the credits for the song, you get 100% of what's coming in. And so, which, nothing against people who don't write their own music. I love writing for other people. It's a lot of what I do. But you definitely double down on what you're making per song if that's something that you are concerned about, as is the streams. But for me, I would say it's my most successful only because it reached the most people of any of my music.
Yeah.
And that's why we do it. Can I Call is something that, Will and I wrote, and Sterling actually, during COVID, about missing someone, and it applied to see people use the sound, like TikTok. I think it has almost 600 videos made from it, to see all the different scenarios that people were using it in, not just a romantic relationship, was the biggest win. Because that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted people to be able to apply it to any situation where you're missing someone.
Yeah.
A loved one, someone who's passed, someone who moved, someone, anything. And people were doing that and we were seeing it in real time. And I think that's, to me, what makes it most successful, because the message hit and it got there. And as a songwriter, that's the only thing you can hope for, is if your message hits and sinks in. And I mean, it helps that it did get a Billboard feature.
That does occasionally help, yes.
So that was my first time.
Yeah, that was charting.
Billboard did a feature on new country music that you should listen to, and it was one of the 10 songs that they recommended you should listen to.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was like in between Dolly and fucking Luke Combs, and I was like, what is happening?
You're like, how is this going?
I know, and it was great. We were filming the music video for Can I Call in LA when that came in.
Yeah.
That was his texted to me, and we were literally filming the video for the song. And so it was so amazing to be with everyone who was a part of it to get that news. And we were all just freaking out. It made the day that much better.
Just to get the recognition while you're with all these people that are working on the project.
And it was the craziest thing. My phone literally stopped working morning of the shoot.
Yeah.
I'm like, perfect.
Yeah. I don't need this anyway.
I don't need any BTS. Who needs their phone while they're filming a video?
Yeah.
So
content's not important nowadays.
So my phone completely would not turn on the entire day. We were trying, everyone was like Googling hacks on how to get it to start again, all this stuff. Wish you would have been there.
Yeah.
You probably would have
just
fixed it.
Hit a couple buttons, been back on.
It would not turn it back on. And so we get to the end, we wrap the video. I sit there, all of a sudden my phone turns back on. 9 hours later, my phone turns back on.
Just randomly?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the first text. And I was like, maybe it was like on purpose. Like my phone didn't work because I was supposed to focus on filming the video today. And then this was going to be like a reward at the end, the end of it. And we were all just sat there. I was like, guys, it's like Billboard did a feature on it. Everyone was like, what? And I said, no, really? And everyone was like, no, what? Like we've lost it. And then video came out. Video did amazing and got featured in so many things. And then I'm big on like everything happens for a reason. Like there's a big push and pull with the universe. And I mean, I lost Zoe last year. So 5 days after I lost her, Can I Call charted. And I was like, thanks, girl. It's just like, she's like, here you go, mom. And, everything I went through last year, with my health and everything. And as soon as I found out about that, I got the call about filming The Voice. And so I was just like, the universe was like, it's okay. It's going to be okay.
I'm going to send a lot of good stuff your way.
It's going to be okay. There's good stuff coming. You could get through the bad stuff. Yeah. So I feel like it kind of keeps you going. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I definitely think Can I Call is a special song. It's special.
Yeah. And it's cool to see just how music is different perspective-wise for so many different people. Like you were talking about so many people using it in social media, whether it's like Instagram Reels, TikTok, and they're all kind of applying it to different situations in their life. Yeah. Where like you might have written it from one perspective, but these people are hearing the song from a completely different perspective, and it impacts their life in a completely different way that you might have not even thought of.
It's literally so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It makes me so happy. Yeah. Like it makes me emotional because it's so cool. Yeah. It's like the best part of my job. Yeah. It's so cool.
Well, what do we have to look forward for the rest of 2024 here from Alannah McCready?
So the next single is being mixed and mastered currently.
Do we know what it is? Can we know what it is, or is it secret?
You'll be the first person to know.
Oh.
It's called I'm Just Fine, which is, if you know me, it's like my saying.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
You know what? I'm fine. Yeah. Literally played a show last weekend with food poisoning. You know what, guys? It's fine. It was really bad.
Yeah.
I texted the guys and I was like, yep. So I'm on 2 hours of sleep and I had food poisoning all night last night. But I'll be there and everything's fine.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. You guys, it'll be fine.
See you guys at 2:30.
You know what? Be there too. And so it's called I'm Just Fine. And I'm really excited about it. It's a complete 180 from Easy.
Okay.
Which is what I wanted because I feel like it'll give a kind of good roundabout way of what the album's going to be like. There's a little bit of everything. And it's just really, it's a very personal song. So I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
Nervous about that because I think there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to have to talk about after it comes out because people are going to have questions.
A lot of vulnerability from you, and then some questions
so
that are
that's
going to
new.
Yeah. That's good though.
You know, as a Capricorn, it gives me hives to people.
But I feel like that's what so many people want from artists that they follow or social media people that they follow, celebrities and stuff. You want to be able to kind of get into their life a little bit. And it's crazy because it's like, okay, you still want a little bit of privacy for yourself, but I think that allowing some of these fans to kind of get into your life a little bit makes them a bigger fan of you too.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And I think about it from a fan point of view. You know, artists that I appreciate and songwriters I appreciate, or like Kelsey Ballerini, Carly Pierce, people who are the same person in their music as they are in person.
Yeah.
And that's rare, I think. And they're so transparent that it could even be to detriment to them, but it's worth it to them if you can even help one person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I come from because that's what I resonate most as a fan. And so when I'm writing, you know, this might have happened to me. And if it happened to me or one of my friends or both, we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
And so getting that out there and finding a way, let people have an outlet to listen and express and laugh or cry or whatever it be, elicit some sort of response is... I mean, that's why we write songs.
Yeah.
So if I have to be vulnerable in order to help other people also be vulnerable, then I will. I feel like that's part of my job as an artist and a songwriter.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited for that. Do we have a date for any of this stuff or no? Not yet?
No.
All right.
I'll play you the demo, though.
I was like, I know you always like to at least show me stuff, especially like from the DJ standpoint. Like you are very good about it. Where we've talked about it, like I feel like a lot of people in country music just don't necessarily like get their music out to DJs.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Anything can be a remix.
100%.
Anything.
And even just like, even if it's the original, just being able to put it out so that way someone can play it and be heard by however many more people.
At Barstool, we're at Barstool. Megan Maroney's just sitting at Barstool. And then you just mashed up my song and her song.
With her,
And then her and I started chatting. Just like, that's how it should always be. Like, that's how it should be with your peers.
Which is like, that's exactly like my thought process. I'm like, all right, cool. Megan Maroney's here. Like, Alannah doesn't necessarily know her.
Yeah.
How can I get them like to talk to each other?
Yeah.
Or like give them like a conversation starting point. And then I'm like, let me fucking mix these two songs together.
Just off the rip. Just real casual.
And just like blended your two together. I'm like, all right, cool. Like those work perfectly together. And then it's like, now you have something where you can be like, oh, like this is my song. Cause then obviously you had friends there who are like going crazy when your song comes on and they're singing your song. Megan Maroney is with her people who like, as soon as I played her song, obviously they all start going crazy. And then like, everyone else in the building that knows Megan Maroney is there all like, holy shit.
You're
like, yeah.
It was so great.
Yeah.
I love those things.
And that's just like a quick moment where it's like, just by getting your music
so
out
easy.
to people.
Pun intended.
Nice. There we
See
go.
what I did there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're also part of the reason why I work at Barstool.
Yeah, I am. I like to say that I am. Yeah. I gave you the intro, plugged in immediately where I was like, hey, book her. And they're like, all right.
Yeah. They're like, yeah. So do you want every Friday, Saturday?
Yeah. It is what's nice is like the trust that I've come to build with like Iga and
Yeah.
the rest of the staff at Barstool, where they trust me so much, especially when it comes to music.
Yeah.
Where if I am vouching for somebody, they're like, cool, done.
Yeah.
And that's all it really takes. Where
And it's nice too, because then I feel like coming in from as someone who hasn't played there before, I'm even more confident because, you know, you've kind of like set the tone for it.
yeah,
And, you know, we played like three dates, and then they were like, we want you full time.
yeah,
And I was like, so I do already have.
yeah. But no, that's something I do with the DJs too. And obviously doing it for the bands is the same kind of thing, where it's like, you're not going in there blind.
Yeah.
Where whenever I have buddies of mine that are being booked out here to DJ, I'll always hit them up and be like, hey, like, this is the vibe. This is what they want. This is what works. This is what doesn't work.
Yeah.
So they're already coming in. They're like, cool. Like, I know it's like setting it up for them to just hit it out of the park, as opposed for them to just come in there and drown. Yeah.
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 Because that looks bad for everybody.
And then same thing for you. Obviously, like, you and Chris have the same manager. Like, you know, Chris is there to help you out too.
Yeah.
And he's there every weekend fucking killing it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, for the bands that I hear in Nashville, like, they do such an incredible job, and maybe they're just fit for Barstool and the vibe there, but they fucking kill it every single weekend of just nonstop energy.
I know, and it's amazing. And I feel like, you know, having us be kind of like a 1-2 punch Friday, Saturday, it works so well because we're completely different vibes, but it's still the same level.
Yeah. You're getting the same caliber.
Yes.
But it's just a little bit different vibe of
Exactly.
Not even energy, I wouldn't say, because there's still a shit ton of energy from both of you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
You know, and it's nice to be, you know, reassured, you know, like the bartenders, people that work there, like, oh, we're so glad you guys are here. And you know, I'm like, oh, you do like us. Okay, great.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
because they're making money.
Yeah.
So that's always a plus.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, I'll keep singing on the bar. You just let me know.
Well, let's touch a little bit on that of obviously the Nashville music scene. When you first moved here, I mean, obviously you're coming here with some connections from when you're coming out here and recording and things like that. How hard was it to get into the scene of playing at bars on Broadway and getting into some of these different venues without really like being here when you're first moving here? I mean, how long did it take you to start playing?
So I lucked out.
Okay.
Because one of my best friends, Alyssa, who is in business management on our artist label side, her sister, Kristen, who's also one of my really good friends, her husband is Jet Harvey, who was one of the co-writers of Rockin' a Hard Place. Well, he wrote Rockin' a Hard Place. And
he's the one that you share the band with.
Previously, yeah.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, because I met him at Tin Roof.
Yes.
Because he said before playing Rockin' a Hard Place that he wrote the song.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? And then you told me the story, and you're like, oh, yeah, like I share a band with him.
Yeah.
He wrote this song, and then we got to talking about like how just difficult that has to be to give up a song to somebody else. Yeah. Yeah.
And especially one that's so personal. I mean, I remember when he played up for me, I did some BGVs on his album, and he had just written Rockin' a Hard Place, and he's like, let me just play you something really quick. Let me see if you like it. And he played it for me. He was like, do you think we should give it to blah, 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 have some? I said, yeah. I do. Yes. Personally and professionally, do it.
Yeah.
But
so you knew him prior to coming out here?
No, I met him. Kristen was with him. And so when I moved back out here and we all started hanging out again, I met him. He started letting me come up and do a few songs because he had a residency at Tin Roof, which was so nice of him. And then that turned into him being like, do you want to do an hour? And I'm like, for sure. And that was Friday, Saturday nights, 10 to close. Tin Roof, Demumbrian Fridays, Broadway Saturdays.
Okay.
And that turned into an hour, then that turned into splitting the sets, then that turned, and then he was kind of moving on from playing live and playing downtown and wanted to focus on the songwriting and got a pub deal and all that kind of stuff. And so basically it was like a handing of the torch to me and Steven. And, Tin Roof was like, yeah. So acquired that time slot, which is insane to get that after being like, I kind of feel bad.
You're like, not even a year.
Yeah. But I'm like, no, I deserve this.
Yeah.
And I know I'm good enough to do it. So this is going to be great. So we did that Friday, Saturday for the next, up until February of this year. And then got connected with Barstool from you. Barstool asked me if I wanted to do Friday, Saturdays. I said I still have some Tin Roof dates on the books. I'm not just going to leave them high and dry. They've been so good to me. I'm so grateful to Tin Roof. Like, management, they just so good to me.
Yeah.
And so finished out the dates there and now at Barstool full time.
Yep.
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So, which it's so different, but we absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I love playing there. It's like we're all one big family, like everyone that plays there, DJs, bands, everyone. It's so great. It's such a good environment. And I'm very grateful to have residencies at two of the best places that you possibly can in the city after only being here for 3 years is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky, but I also work my ass off. So I feel like it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's definitely deserved. It's not something that's just been handed to you in any sort of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I was thinking about before too is just like, I feel like in country music, especially when you're getting started, a lot of these country artists are kind of having to do everything where you are writing your own songs. Most of them are playing an instrument, whether they're playing guitar or something like that. Does that make it almost 10 times harder to kind of make it when you're doing all of this stuff yourself versus these artists that now have made it can have a team around them to write their songs for them? They have producers that are probably sending them things.
Yeah.
They have people that are probably constantly writing songs that they want them to cut just because, like, hey, I know if Morgan Wallen picks up my song, I'm getting paid just for that.
Yeah. I think it depends on what kind of artist you want to be. So if you want to just be a badass songwriter, then get a pub deal, go be a songwriter, get placements, crush it. If you want to be an artist, you kind of have to do it all. And it's kind of an unfortunate part of our industry where you lose creative control, but it's like, what's the trade-off?
Yeah.
So you're getting the machine behind you, but it's much easier to lose yourself. So I think it takes a special person and a special artist to be able to maintain who they are as an artist and a songwriter and stand up for themselves. And that's also about having the right people around you, so you don't get walked all over.
Yeah, because you mean in the sense of, like, let's say you go to a label and then you were wanting to write this song or play this song, and they're like, no, we're going to push you in this direction now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you say no, they can just drop you. And you're just back to square one, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like if you can make it work for you to do it yourself for as long as possible, build up your, stock, build up your portfolio, build as far as you can possibly get on your own.
Yeah.
That's going to help you in the long run, because I've had like my team for like 2 years now, a little over 2 years, but I'm still independent.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm getting the help, but I don't have to sacrifice anything. And, you know, for me, the next step would be to sign a pub deal and then, you know, hopefully a record deal and that kind of stuff. But, you know, it's putting the building blocks together, working up to that. So you're ready for that when you get there.
When it comes, yeah.
I feel like nowadays with like TikTok and everything, people are blowing up overnight, getting completely overwhelmed, and then just kind of disappearing. And, you know, the whole goal,
or they sign a deal right away and then they get fucked because they don't know.
And the whole goal of being an artist is longevity. Like the longer your career, the better it is. You know, it's kind of, I don't know. It's like, it's so hit or miss. And you have to be so mentally tough to be in this industry.
Yeah.
And for me, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm so grateful that I was an athlete at such a high level just for the mental aspect of it. Because people who weren't, I don't know how y'all are doing this, because for me, especially being a goalie, I'm a goalie and I'm a Capricorn. I'm like this 24 hours a day. And it takes a lot to get me to go up or down.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm just like, as an athlete and getting at such a high level, you have to learn how to win and you have to learn how to lose. And they're both equally as important. And I feel like a lot of people in our industry have never learned how to lose or learned how to win, one or the other. And then it just goes off the rails, because today can be the best day of your career, tomorrow can be the worst. And if you can't stay mentally even through both, you will never have a long career.
Yeah.
It just won't happen. You will spiral or take things too personally or whatever, you know? And for me, as a woman in country music, and especially as a woman who plays, because I was told recently that I'm one of the only like female fronted bands on Broadway that plays I'm the artist, I'm the band, you know?
Yeah.
And have like a prime location, prime time. I'm like one of the only females apparently.
You are, yeah.
Which I didn't
I'm thinking about,
realize.
Yeah.
And so I take that very seriously. And I feel like sometimes it can make it, people are like, oh, because I'm a girl, you know, they can get away with stuff or they can whatever. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. So I just feel like building the blocks up as well as you can of the foundation of being an artist and a songwriter, and knowing what you want out of your career is the best way to be successful as far as if you're going to sign a deal or be, you know, whatever. If you're more confident you are in yourself, the smoother that's going to go.
Yeah. I mean, you talked a little bit about your team and the team that's behind you.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the band that is behind you.
My boy.
Specifically, Lee and his fucking amazing hair.
No, it's real. We have to remind people all the time, like, his hair is real.
People think it's a wig?
Yes.
Really?
I'm like, his hair is real, okay?
I will try and plug a video of Lee into here.
Headbanging.
It's fucking amazing. It's a great sight to see.
He can also do the splits. He plays the bass in the splits.
I've never once seen this, and now I'm kind of pissed off.
This weekend.
Of all the times that I've seen him play, I've never once seen him do the splits.
Yeah, he does. A couple weeks ago, he did the splits on the bar, in between me and Steven.
While playing?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We were playing Country Girl.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Headbanging in the splits on the bar in between me and Steven, and everyone was losing it.
So I was talking about it earlier today with just some of my buddies. Like, DJs, there's always some sort of drama.
Yeah.
Whether it's like DJ Twitter or DJs is bitching about whatever on Instagram, there's always just some sort of drama in like the DJ community. Well, yeah. The bands, I don't know if I just don't see it because I'm not in it, or like, is there really just not drama between all these Nashville bands? Like, every time I see bands out and mingling with each other, or there's so many like songwriter sessions where people are going and they're going to work and collaborate with each other. Like, they're trying to connect for the greater good of music in the industry.
Yeah.
Where like we do DJ meetups and then half the DJs don't even show up, even though it could be something that's like helping them. Where I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why do you guys not want to come and all get together and work together?
You're like, hey guys.
Yeah.
So teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
Let's get it together.
But like, is that how it works with bands, or from what you've seen, are most of the bands pretty good together? That long sigh already tells me my answer.
It's just sometimes there's tea.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's not tea. I will say that for majority of us that work downtown, there's a lot of camaraderie.
Okay.
And it's very much like want to help each other win, all that kind of stuff. So there's very few times where it becomes hostile or like people don't get along, because a lot of people play with a lot of people. And so
you can't burn those bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we have people who sub out and whatever, and vacation, whatever. So we have like multiple people for each
position of the band. Yeah.
But we have our core
Yep.
people, obviously. And so my guys, we love each other.
Yeah.
Like we're so close.
You can tell.
Yeah. They're all my brothers. It's so great. They respect me so much. I respect them so much. So grateful for them. We work so seamlessly together. And I feel like once you find that, you have to hang on to it, because it's very easy to find musicians. It's very hard to find musicians that also you want to hang out with. That's kind of where it is.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be okay and cool with hanging out with this person and spending 8 hours in a car with them.
Yeah.
To a gig, So it's like, if you don't like hanging out with them, not on stage, probably not the musician for you in your band. So once you find that like perfect combo, it's like, don't leave.
Yes.
Don't leave me.
Stay with me forever.
Don't leave me. So I have lucked out that, Lee honestly has been with me the longest.
Is he from Minnesota?
No, he's from Nashville. Born and raised. He's been with me since Jet. So he was originally in Jet's band.
Okay.
So it's been 3 years that he's been with me.
Okay.
So yeah. But I'm very lucky that they love me and want to play for me.
No, they're an awesome group, and I like I said, like
they're so entertaining.
When you're watching the show, you're like entertained by it, but you can tell that the camaraderie is there.
And we like read each other's minds.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Which I feel like playing with each other that much, like you got, it just.
Between Tom's big mouth and the talk back, he he talks so much shit in his drum talk back.
We're just laughing,
and he just makes us laugh in the middle of a song, and we're like, stop it. And like everyone probably thinks we're psychopaths because they can't hear what you're saying,
and then
we're
you're just smiling and laughing
like,
in the middle of a fucking song. Yeah,
like he's and it's not just like joke. He'll just rip on us.
Yeah,
like all of us, just pick us apart while he's playing drums, and then
wow, you really fucked up that note.
No, literally, he'll be like, Steve, no wonder they took all your fucking hair. Like he'll just be like, you look like a fucking cue ball. Like he just like, or he'll be like, oh look, that chair is taller than Steve, or like something like he just rips us apart, and it cracks us up so much. And I told him, one time I'm gonna have Marcus flip
Switch
you
the talk
to the
back
house, and people are gonna hear you talking in your Trump voice into the talkback wearing your damn pink cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And it's like between his antics and Ben's mullet and Ben playing the Freebird solo backwards on his back with his guitar upside down. Just like, huh? And, Steven just going off the rails. He gets anytime someone brings up him being a dad, he like almost cries. I'm like, get it together, man. And then Lee's friggin' hair and splits and jumping around. And we have such a good time.
Yeah, there's a lot of entertainment going on.
Yeah.
We love it. I always hear that so many bands at these venues only play for tips.
Yeah. A lot of them do.
There's no way. I always think it's bullshit. There's really that many bands that are legit only playing for tips.
Yeah, because
at like some of the major venues, you're talking like a Kid Rock, an All Dean's, like a 1230 club.
What floor you're on, what time of day you're playing.
Yeah.
How good you are, how many people are in the band. Those are all variations. Like, it's a lot of places on Broadway are not a lot of money.
Yeah, but there's so, like, I can't imagine any of the major ones, like a Lambert's, a Luke Bryan, a Kid Rock's, Jason Aldean's, Whiskey Row, like.
All that I can say is you would be very surprised.
That is just insane to me. And I don't know how artists can even, I mean, I guess, yeah, the tips could end up being
1,000%.
that good where it's
a lot of
worth
times
it.
people make more tips than what their base is.
Mm-hmm. But then I even think about it where it's like, it's just in the country music industry that kind of thing happens, where you even think about like the Grand Ole Opry, like they don't pay any of those artists to play, where it's just like a rite of passage. Yeah, like it's like a rite of passage and an honor to play that. And all of those artists that do it would drop anything in a second to do it for free.
1,000%.
Where if you were to look at like, let's say like a hip hop artist had something like that.
No way.
They'd be like, no, I'm not doing that shit for free. Where like, let's say you had to put Drake into like a hip hop Ring of Honor and there was a Grand Ole Opry of that. Yeah. And you expected him to play for free.
There'd be a massive
like,
rider.
No.
There'd be all the things. Yeah. Yeah. There would be a minimum for sure. Yeah. It might be less than what it would be for something else. But, I also think that's another part of knowing your worth here. Mm-hmm. You have to fight for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. I didn't start off 4 years ago making what I make now. Yeah. Base pay. Yeah. And you just have to work your ass off, prove yourself, prove that you can keep a crowd, entertain a crowd, make a venue happy, not cause any problems, not be blackout on stage, not have your band cause problems, all those things. And it all compounds together. And then you get, people saying positive things about you. And each year I'm like, I'll play here for another year, but I need more money. Or I have a 5-piece now, so we need to make this much bass, Yeah.
But you're proving it over that year that you deserve that money. Yeah.
And working with the venues and the management and everything and going in there knowing your worth and what you think you should be making. And, if they counter with something less, are you okay with it? Then take it. Also depends on how much tips you're making. There's certain places where people tip more than other places. Mm-hmm. Also depends, if you're playing an 11 a.m. shift on the roof somewhere, probably not going to get a lot of tips. Mm-hmm. So, it just depends. And then also you have to decide if you're going to take requests.
Which I think is that's got to be a huge way for a lot of these bands to make money. And some of these bands are very, very good at getting people to tip. Yeah. Where they kind of make a game of it like, hey, we'll do this, but we need $100. Like, who's going to do it? Oh, yeah. And then you got this one drunk guy who's like, I'll throw in 20. Sometimes they'll just be like, fuck it. This guy is just like, I'll pay the whole 100 to hear it.
I think my favorite story of that is my friend who used to play at the stage like 10 years ago. He used to do this game like midway through his set. We would have 2 buckets. And he would be like, if you want to hear Sweet Home Alabama, you put tips in this bucket.
If you don't want to
hear it, put tips in this bucket. At the end of the next song, we will count it and whichever one has more wins.
That is smart.
Yeah.
That's
I will never
really
forget
smart.
that. Yeah.
Damn.
And, yeah.
Yeah, because you could do that with a lot of these songs that are just like
Freebird, Wagon Wheel.
Mr. Brightside, like any of these
all
songs
of
that are
it.
like the most overplayed ones that
Yeah.
you hear in every single venue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I'm like, and I will never forget, I'm like, that was genius.
Yeah.
Because there'd be like, $200, $300 in each bucket by the end of the song.
Can you imagine if I did that in my DJ set and I'm like, all right, all the people that don't want to hear Taylor Swift, all the people that don't want to hear Taylor Swift, put money in this bucket.
Yeah.
All the people that do, money in this bucket.
Bank.
I bet I would make a fucking killing.
Bank. Oh yeah. Because it's always split.
Yeah.
Especially with Taylor, it's always split. Yeah.
I could have done that on Taylor Swift weekend alone and made a fucking $1,000
So much
in one night. Yeah.
Well, it's also, we change it to where we're at, when we're not, it's expected that you're going to have to pay for song requests on Broadway. People just kind of know that. But when we're other places in the country, it's not the same. And so
the tip culture is not the same.
Not
when
the
it
same
comes
at
to
all.
music. Yeah.
So, we'll be like, okay, like in Chicago, we'll do $5 or $10 for a request. In Nashville, it's usually $20. If you for sure want your song played, $20, we'll play it. We will 100% play you that song.
Which that's one thing that I've talked about as far as like DJing here too, where I think it helps out the DJs so much just because of how the tip culture is band wise here, where people will sometimes just come up and just throw me money and be like, yo, you're killing it. Throw me $20.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to tipping the
Having
bands.
to do it to hear something.
Yeah, that they're just like, oh, cool. Like it must be the same for the DJs. Maybe these DJs are only playing for tips or whatever they think.
Who knows?
And they're a lot more okay with tipping for a request or tipping just for the hell of it than like me being in Milwaukee and somebody comes up and I'm like, yeah, $20.
Screaming a song at you.
Yeah, and I'll say $20 and they'll look at me like their fucking world just
insane.
ended. Yeah.
They look at you
Versus
like,
here, you say it and they're like, all right, cool. Like,
okay, cool.
They're like, that's just Nashville, baby.
It literally, I mean, we have people, we had someone a couple weeks ago, Venmo tip $250. And he said, play Baby Shark and say happy birthday to Ted. Okay. Like, do you want the hand movements?
Yeah. Do we need to be choreographed? Because we'll fucking do it.
Listen, we can do the whole thing.
Yeah.
We got shark costumes in the back. You just let us know what you want us to do.
Yeah.
We got you. Happy birthday, Ted.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Or someone will come up and be like, here's $300, play, what was it? It was like, play Motley Crue, Girls, 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 next. Okay.
Yeah. You're like, you idiot. We would have done it for 20.
But I'm just like, of course we'll do that for you. What do you mean? Like, and I feel like a lot of people who don't take tips or are weird about it or whatever, I get it because, on one hand, it's like you're an artist, so you want to play what you've like curated for your sets and stuff. So I completely get that. But on the other hand, I want my band to make money. And at the end of the day, I'm looking out for them and they deserve it. And, it's at the end of the day, we're playing on Broadway. We're here for you.
Yeah.
We want to play what you want to hear because we're technically working for you right now, And
but will you always do it no matter what, even if it's like something that can completely ruin the vibe of a room? Because I feel like
we will time it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if someone comes up, like I had someone come up and request Faith by George Michael.
Yeah.
Right after I played Before He Cheats. And I was like,
you're like, how are we fitting this in?
So here's the thing. And I'll like pull them over and I'm like, okay, we know it. We will play it. But we're going to mash it up with something else. So it's more vibey. So
you're not getting the full
room.
song. Yeah.
Yeah. And if they're okay with that, cool. If not, okay, you can have your money back. It's whatever, We always say at the top of the shows, we're like, we take requests. One of three things are going to happen. You're going to request it. We're going to know it. We're going to play it. We're going to crush it. You're going to request it. We're going to do a Nashville rehearsal where one of us is going to go in the back, listen to it for 30 seconds, and then we're going to play a version of it that you'll probably recognize. Or 3, we've never fucking heard of this deep cut you just threw at us for some reason that you wanted to hear so badly, and we'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want your money back and you want us to try and play it anyways, $20, I guess, is worth watching a band look stupid. So, it's like you got options where, and even on the Venmos, like they'll request something and it'll be this like obscure thing. I'm like,
you're like, why?
On what planet?
Yeah.
Go listen to it in your car.
Yeah.
Like, on what planet do you think anyone knows that?
Yeah.
And so even if it comes in on a Venmo, I'll go, like, you'll see on stage, we have our phones like on our mic stands. And so if you see me on my phone, I'm not texting. I'm like, I'm looking at.
Occasionally you are.
Occasionally I'm texting if you're in the room and I need a drink. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But, I'll go in there and respond back to the Venmo and be like, hey, don't think the guys know this. Do you have a second choice? And then usually
you'll just like comment back on it?
Yeah. So then usually someone will respond with a second choice, or and if we still don't know, I'll be like, hey, come up to the stage and talk to us or whatever. And I just communicate that way. Or if it's something funny or whatever, I'll say it in the mic and call the person out and whatever, 'cause last weekend someone requested slow motion.
Okay.
And I said, so I don't think.
You said,
Yeah, I said, I like it like that. I said, so I don't think the verses of that song are technically appropriate.
Yeah.
So
we'll give it a shot.
I was like, we'll do the chorus, and then I'm going to go into another hip hop thing.
Yeah.
Is that okay? But I'll like call them out, and I'll be like, where is Craig, and why do
why are we
just make it funny?
Right yeah.
So it just kind of like brings in more of a crowd thing. Because then people are like, oh my God, is that my name?
With how music is right now, obviously like country is super popular. You have a lot of artists that are crossing over into country music. You got people that are completely crossing over and making entire new albums. You got Post Malone's new album coming out soon here. But then you see people like Morgan Wallen working with a lot of hip hop artists, where he's worked with like Lil Durk in the past. He's working with Moneybagg Yo now. You got Shabuzi working with Big X The Plug. Yeah, like all these people are kind of crossing over where they might not necessarily be country artists, but they're seeing country being
like, when did we become cool?
Yeah. And I think it's in part of like hip hop music right now is so just mediocre.
Well, it all sounds the same right now.
Yeah.
Which
where
is
like
annoying.
Country is becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
What are you guys getting like the most requests for during your sets?
It's all over the map. I will say we added the bar song
Shabuzi
to our set because it gets requested every single day.
Do you sing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and we mash it up with Revival.
Okay. Nice.
And it's actually really cool.
Yeah.
So we do sort of like a round. So that there's certain things where if they get requested so much, we'll just add it to the set and make it fun, make it a mashup with something else. So like mashing up Zach Bryan and Shabuzi is like, what people are like, what? But it works.
And especially with like how popular Zach Bryan is. Like
Yes.
I talk about that a lot in DJ sets where I can't really work a lot of Zach Bryan into DJ sets just because of like how down tempo it is, just a lot of it being more emotional songs.
Oh yeah.
Where they're not as upbeat to fit for like a DJ set. But then for the bands, it's a lot more fitting for their sets because people want to be able to sing along and everyone knows every fucking word.
Every word.
Where that's perfect and it fits perfectly with it.
Yeah, we've been getting that a lot. I mean, I would say Carrie Underwood, Taylor Swift, Zach Bryan, Morgan Wallen, and Luke Combs are the most requested artists that we get right now.
Yeah.
And so we kind of look at that. So we have like a shared note with the whole band that we all have up on our phones while we play. And we add anytime a request comes in from anybody, because sometimes people tell one of us.
Yep. Add
it to it. It goes to all of us automatically. So we can see what we have coming up or in the queue or let each other know if we know it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we keep those. We don't delete them. We keep those. And every couple months we go in, see which ones are the most. And then try and add it into the set in some way.
Yeah.
And it sort of kind of keeps it interesting for us. keeps it current. And we have like different sections of our sets. We have like a pop punk section. We have, a true like country, like
just kind of little routines that you get into in the middle of the set. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll do requests in between.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So we like kind of collect them for a good 20-minute period. And then.
Are you like practicing with your band outside of gigs, or do you guys know? That's why I'm like, I didn't really know where you guys would even have time to really do that.
We do, I think we do a rehearsal maybe once a quarter.
Once a quarter?
Yeah.
See, but that's what's crazy is just like how good a lot of these bands are where you can just be like, all right, cool. And they just can work and bounce off each other.
Oh yeah. And we have like our sets, they have notes in them. So Steven is my MD. So he'll go in and he'll be like, in the set list, it'll say this, and it'll say, do the outro in this way, straight into this, or break for talking. Or there's like little notes in between everything that everyone can see. And then it just sort of goes seamlessly. And then the talkback mics help as well, because while we're finishing up a song, if I already know I want to go in right into something else, I'll just say it in the talkback before the song ends. And then you don't have any lulls in sound.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think a lot of people don't notice that are just like regular customers there drinking, partying, where they don't necessarily see how much communication is really going on with the bands unless you're actually looking for it. And then you're like, oh shit, like
why are they turning around and talking in that microphone?
And talking in like the different microphone and nothing's coming out. Yeah. But it's cool to see, like, I'll be there setting up to get on after Chris, and you see them all talk. Like Carl in the talkback, Josh in the talkback, Chris in the talkback, like as the song is playing, and they'll be in there like getting ready.
1, 2, 3, or like whatever, or like to the bridge, or
just getting ready for everything and going through it. It's really cool.
I love it. Yeah.
When you are writing songs now, do you write them specifically thinking like, hey, I know that this song is going to work for radio, or hey, this song is going to be more playable in a club setting, or following just like different trends in music, or maybe even making them specifically for certain artists? Or are you typically writing them for yourself to start?
So I think for myself is how they start. And then as they progress, because it's a long process, as they progress, it either becomes super indie or, this one seems like it could be more commercial. And I think a lot of that comes in with the production. So when I send it to the mixer, I'll usually send along with the tracks, I'll send inspo.
Okay.
Of other tracks that are already out that I kind of hear similar vibe or components that I think would be good, or what I'm kind of hearing. And then the mixer takes it from there and then adds in, kind of gets the vibe of what I'm going for. And then it probably goes back and forth. I mean, at least 3 or 4 times before.
Yeah, where you have so many different versions before you actually narrow it down to your final.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it depends. So a lot of it, I guess it does pull from what's out, because I pull from current stuff when I send to the mixer, because the current stuff will have the components everyone's using, or if people are using a lot of slide or whatever, it's sort of just whatever's in my brain, which is kind of scary.
Yeah. Because that can be different every fucking day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'll send an email the next day and be like, you know what? Completely forget that.
Yeah. You know what I said? Don't even want that anymore. Hate it now.
Hate everything about it.
Okay. But yeah, let's get into some of these rapid fire questions that I got set. I refuse to do these. So at this point in your career, you've worked with a lot of other artists. Who is someone in the music industry that you would like to collaborate with on a song?
Oh, that list is so long.
Give me the one person.
Oh my gosh. That's so hard. There's some people I want to sing with, some people I want to write with.
Give me somebody. Yeah. So let's break it down this way. So give me one person that you would like to write with.
Okay.
And one person that you would actually like to have on a song with you.
I want to write with Kelsey Ballerini.
Okay.
I want to sing with. I want to sing with so many people. I want to sing with Shania because I feel like she is the person who when I like growing up and knowing I wanted to do country music, I feel like her vibe and who she is and how she's so herself made it okay for someone like me who's not blonde and a size 0 to still want to be in country music.
Yeah. That's awesome. So that's a good one then.
Yeah.
What is a venue that you haven't played that you would like to play at?
Bridgestone, Madison Square Garden, the Opry,
You get one.
the Ryman.
What would be the most, like if you could play at any venue this weekend, what would it be?
I mean, realistic, the Opry. Dreams and goals, Bridgestone.
Okay.
Or like a stadium.
Yeah. Fucking Nissan.
Yeah.
Where in your career so far has been your favorite city to play that had the best crowd?
Milwaukee.
Really?
Yeah, because I play Summerfest.
Okay.
It was well, I played it multiple times, but my favorite was I opened for Dan and Shay at Summerfest, and there was like 10,000 people there. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure being in Milwaukee, then you could have a lot of friends and
so
family.
So many friends there. Travis there.
Yep.
Everyone was there.
Oh, I was fucking there.
Oh, yeah, you were there.
I'm like, wait. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Everyone was there.
Yeah.
All my people.
I remember that. Yeah.
Teammates, coaches, everyone.
Yeah. And that's a fucking awesome festival to play at. I mean, it's one of the biggest festivals in the world and right in my old backyard. So
I know.
It's good.
It's so great.
If you could have any producer, DJ hop on and do a remix of one of your songs, who would you pick? Do you know enough of
Mustard?
Really?
Yeah.
You just turn your thing into a hip hop track. Can you imagine before Easy starts? Mustard on the beat, ho.
Yes, I can imagine.
And then it's just, I don't wanna know. Like, what the fuck just happened?
I just think he's so crazy talented.
He is.
It's like yeah.
I mean, everything Mustard puts out is very good.
It's on the beat, huh?
It would be cool to see what he would make.
With any of my music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of yours for sure.
He's just so good.
Yeah. Give me your top 3 songs right now that you're listening to either in the car, in the gym, what you like to play out during your sets. What are your top 3 songs right now?
So I feel like that changes. I feel like that changes on where I'm at mentally.
Mood, yeah. That's a very common answer.
Yeah.
On the show.
This week, I'm in some special places.
Okay.
So, this week, well, for example, at the gym yesterday, I was blasting, I love Feather.
Okay.
Sabrina Carpenter. I'm kind of in a really big Sabrina Carpenter vibe.
I just sat down
now.
with 2 people yesterday. Sabrina Carpenter was their answer too.
Yeah. Feather and or Please, Please, Please.
Yep. No espresso, huh?
Espresso's fun to listen to, but it's just like the other two, I'm just like,
yeah.
So, and then what else? So I listen, as you know, I listen to everything. So I do listen to a lot of rap music. I do love Lil Baby.
Okay.
So I kind of, Lil Baby radio is kind of like my.
That's just constantly on.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
And then also,
I love that you're singing while you say.
I don't even realize I'm doing it. I'm also really into Tate McRae right now. Love her. Again, but all these things have songwriting.
Yeah.
So it's like the words just.
That's what sticks out to you the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. Those are 3 good picks, though.
Thank you.
And diverse picks, like you said. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's all I'm going to have for you. Last thing before you go, We just
love
got to
you
have
too.
you put somebody
Oh,
on a
no.
platform.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, what were you going to say?
So I love you too.
No, last thing before I let you get out of here, we just want to have you put somebody on a platform. So it could be any person, a brand, favorite restaurant around here, anything that you want the listeners, the viewers to know, shine a little bit of a spotlight on them, get them out there.
Okay, so there's like a lot of people that deserve it, but I'm gonna go with my friend Lauren Gottschall. She just graduated SMU, and she's moving here today actually, and she's an unreal songwriter. She's only 22 and is just so talented.
Yeah.
Plays guitar, songwrites her ass off. We actually have a co-write on my album coming up together.
Okay.
So I'm just so excited to see what she is going to do once she's here full time.
Yeah.
And she's like my little sister. And I love that I'm able to kind of bring her,
Take her under
my wing
yeah.
when she moves here and show her the ropes and watch her flourish.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've met her at Whiskey Row when I was
Yeah.
DJing there. I've seen her at Barstool with you. Awesome, very, very talented singer. So that's
And she's just like sweet little pumpkin.
yeah, great to see that she's coming here full time to
Finally.
pursue the career. Just really, really, really,
Diving in.
100%. Yeah,
Gotta
and that's
do
a
it.
good pick. So awesome. Well, that's all I got. Make sure you guys are gonna go follow Alannah. I'll put all of her socials up on the description. Links to her music. So go check out some of her latest releases. Easy is the latest one. So definitely go stream that. Get those numbers up so she can get another 3 cents from Spotify. Go check her out. She's at Barstool every Friday and Saturday from 2:30 to 6:30.
Yes.
And go enjoy her and her band. I'm DJ Dex. Make sure you guys are following me. Subscribe to the show if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. One more time, follow Alannah. Anything else that you need to plug before you get out of here?
I love you too.
I love you too. And that's we'll see you guys next Wednesday. We are out of here. Thank you.
Point, point, point.
Check. Mic check. 1, 2. Yo, is this thing on or what?